over. Oh, there we go. Ah, look at me. I was chatting away. And I don't know if you picked up on it all. Let's have a look. Are we live? Okay. Now there's people in the chat saying he's asleep. I've been live for the past 4 minutes. I've been sat here chatting away, but it looked like there was a bit of a YouTube issue, and it looked like it wasn't quite connecting. But now I seem to have got it to go through. So yeah. What? Okay. What did you just miss out? Hello. What did you just miss out on? I said, welcome to this Sunday stream. Welcome to this kind of bit of a lazy stream. I said that we are doing things over here on this channel because I've just dropped a pretty big video. There's a big video about Bray's return. Lots of conversation pieces in there. Lots of things that we've been talking about, all in that one video. Some real interesting theories and thoughts, not just my own, but like other people's, and I've put quite a bit into it. It's like nearly 20 minutes long. It's a pretty epic video. So I didn't want to get in the way of that. I wanted that to just kind of have its own space. I always feel like if I drop a video and then do a stream after, they're kind of getting in each other's way. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, and I'm not just saying this to get subscribers, right? Because it doesn't really make a big difference to me. But if you're not subscribed to this channel, I would urge that you do, because we are going to look to use both channels as and when we need to, as and when we can. So, yes, we are going to be using both channels. That's why we're over here for this. The other thing as well was an apology. I do want to apologize to people because obviously last night we were meant to do an Extreme Rules review. I have apologized in the review, but for those that didn't get a chance to watch it, I obviously want to apologize again because we were meant to do that live. I said we would do it live, and I just wasn't getting to it. I was trying to get to it, and we just weren't getting to it. I could not get to it. There was just so much that was going on. And I think certainly with Bray and White Rabbit, it's so detailed that if someone else was to return, you haven't got loads to talk about, have you? Like, guess what? They're back. That's it. What segment did they come out in? What were they wearing? What was their theme music? What was their demeanor? You know, a couple of little bits like that, you're done. But with Bray, it's like, you're looking in the fun house. You've got puppets in the arena. What does that mean? There's a new mask. His lantern is not the head lantern. It's not a red light. It's a blue light. Obviously, there's people drawing connections with a tribute to Brody because of the blue light. And obviously, the new character and the face that was on the TV screen. It's just so much more complex and more detailed that I just wasn't getting to the review. So, yeah, we did it as a video, but we will obviously go back to doing live reviews. We're not getting rid of those. We will go back to doing live reviews. Maybe I do need to look at what time they start and maybe push them a bit further away so that I've definitely got that time. But as I said, nothing's going to be as complex or detailed as the Bray Wyatt return. So we should be all right in future. So, yes, that is why we're on this channel. An apology about the Extreme Rules review. And what is this stream? Let's talk about that. This stream is a chilled Sunday stream. I said I would do it. I'm doing it. And it is going to be us just kind of kicking the breeze, really. I think everything I needed to say or wanted to say is in that video on the Wrestling Daze channel. So I don't have tons to bring to you because I've just brought it to you. But I'm here for your theories. I'm here for what you guys are seeing. I'm here for questions, thoughts, all of that kind of stuff. One of the things I was going to say is I was fascinated about what was going to main event last night's show. And it's so interesting now to look in retrospect to see that it really didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what the main event was because he didn't interrupt any match. Like, all the matches finished. That was a big, big conversation, wasn't it? What match is he going to interrupt? Who is he going after? We still don't know, right? And so I remember saying during yesterday's stream, like, how could it have been the ladder match, but now it's the fight pit match? Like, how do they not know who he's going after? And to be honest, I don't know why it never crossed my mind that he wasn't going after anything. How did that not cross my mind? How did it not click that it does not matter what the matches are because he's coming back and he's not going after anybody? Like, how did I not click? I suppose in a way it's because it's so unusual to have a return be its own event. If you think about like how Bayley came back, she came back at the end of Becky and Bianca. She was like attached to that match. Whereas this is not attached to the fight pit. This is not attached to anything. It's its own segment. It's its own. This was the main event in many ways. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. It's one of those things that I think in the future now, if we get into a similar situation, we can go, well, do you remember when Bray came back and we were trying to figure out what match he was going after? Maybe this person, whoever it is in the future, maybe they don't go after anyone. Perhaps their return is so big, it will be its own segment. So just maybe food for thought in the future. Eric said, did Cole not know if they were on air or not? Nah, he will have known. This would have been part of a run order. So they would know that the main event is going to be when Bray comes back. If you think of all the work that went into it, like the doorway that had to go and be set up in the entranceway, the people dotted around, the mask on the commentary table, like he will have been aware of all of that. So when he's like, are we on air? He's doing that for effect. I thought it was all right. I thought that was all right. The mask on the commentator's table was burnt Fiend, says Trenton. Yeah, I don't really get that. I don't really understand that. I mean, I suppose in a way it was the mask had melted. I suppose, did the mask melt? Because it was Bray that was underneath, wasn't it? So is that just like the burnt Fiend mask? I don't know. The whole burnt Fiend thing is something I struggle with because, I mean, at WrestleMania, he walks down that corridor and just is not burnt anymore. So, like, the whole burnt Fiend thing is just something that I cannot get a read of it. I haven't got a clue. I don't know if the Fiend was burnt, if Bray was burnt, if it was a mask or what it was. When I first saw it, I thought it was Kane because the color, I don't know if it was the light that was on it or something, but the color looked red and black, and it looked a bit like a Kane kind of mask with like the hair on and everything. But as I said in the video, like it could have been like burnt Fiend. It could have been, you know, a few things. But yeah, I've had a few people saying, no, it was burnt Fiend. Did you see Roland's gear? Looked like it had Mercy the Buzzard on it, says Matthew. That's an interesting theory. I mean, his gear was Rob Van Dam. So it's apparently connected to that. I don't know if Rob Van Dam ever had any gear that had that on. I'm not really very good when it comes to like Rob Van Dam ring gear knowledge. So I don't know if there was a tribute to that in any way. See, this is where it can be a bit tricky for me because that could also be some sort of symbol for Philadelphia or, don't know. I mean, it was strange that he had that. I mean, I can't see Seth joining Bray. I can't see that. I know that Seth's Twitter account has gone all black. And I know that Liv Morgan's Twitter account has gone all black. Liv is someone I could see joining Bray because I think that Liv is someone that has managed to get to a world title. But I don't think it's unfair to say she struggled when she got there. Obviously, the booking did not help, right? And I honestly thought she was going to win because I thought if she'd just got past Ronda, I thought she was going to be all right for a while because there's no one else really around, unless Charlotte's going to come back. There's no one else really around that's a problem. She's already beaten Shayna, and I would say Ronda and Shayna over on SmackDown are the biggest problems. You know, could Liv beat Shotzi? Absolutely. Could Liv get past Raquel? It would be tough, but I reckon her experience, because she's been on the main roster a long time, I reckon her experience could just see her get past Raquel. Could she get past Natalia? Yes. Natalia is someone that tends to put people over at this stage in her career. Could she get past Xia Li? Absolutely. Could she get past Lacey Evans? Definitely. Could she get past Aaliyah? 100%. Could she get past Carmella? Yes. Could she get past the returning Zelina Vega? Definitely. Could she get past B-Fab? Yes. Like, it just felt like she needed to get past Ronda. And then, like, she probably could have had a couple of feuds that she would have been absolutely fine in. It's just Ronda in particular, is the baddest unarmed woman on the planet. And that was always going to be a problem. But I did think they would find a way of giving her the win. So I was very surprised. Very surprised when they didn't. Afterwards, her Twitter account went all black. And there was a backstage interview where she was kind of cowering in the corner, like emotional and upset. And she looked very focused. And I don't know. I personally would have preferred it if she had been laughing backstage. Because do you remember she had that smile on her face as she was like passing out? I actually made the observation, and again, I totally understand because that review went up very late. People might not have seen it. But I made the observation that I thought that was a really interesting moment because she has been synonymous with crying, right? Liv Morgan cries a lot. She's always cried a lot. She's always been an emotional little thing. So I thought, like, the fact she was just about to lose her title and she was in a situation she could not get out of, what was there left to do? You can either, moan, complain, cry, and all of that, right? Or you can smile and laugh about it. And she chose this time to smile and laugh about it. And I actually thought that in a weird way, that showed a little character development because the Liv I know bursts into tears at any opportunity possible. Whereas here she is on the verge of losing her title and she's smiling about it. Smiling. And that's quite sinister in a way. It's kind of not wanting your enemy to see that they've got to you. It's not wanting your opponent to see that they're hurting you. It's kind of like if a bully hits you and you just stand and smile back at them or thank them for it or something like this. Like they're confused. They don't know what the hell what have you done that for? Because they're so used to bullying people and the people obviously run off in tears. So there's something kind of really psychological, which I really like about her losing and being submitted, but doing it with a smile on her face. So when we saw her backstage and to see her kind of seemingly upset, that was a bit of a shame for me. I wanted her to actually be backstage smiling as if she's realized something, as if she knows something, as if she doesn't want people to see that she's hurting so that she can be in control of the situation. So that's what I was hoping to see. It's not what we got, but I'm still intrigued as to where we're going. And I could definitely see her joining up with Bray. I can't see Seth, though. I can't see Seth joining up with Bray. That's... Anyone that joins with Bray is going to play second fiddle to Bray. Because Bray is not going to be second fiddle to anyone, is he? Bray could join the bloodline, and he is not going to be second fiddle to Roman Reigns, right? Roman Reigns would not be second fiddle to Bray either, hence why they will never join forces. But can you really see Seth joining up with Bray? I can't see it. I do think that his Twitter account going black's very interesting. I do think that, but what's he going to do? Stand behind Bray? This is a guy that considers himself number one guy in the company. He can't get his head around how he's, not the number one guy. He did a very insightful sit-down interview with Ariel Helwani, and I don't know. I mean, the only thing I would say is they did put Daniel Bryan with Bray. They had him as like a submissive. He was like, someone that succumbed to Bray's kind of power or whatever when he was cult leader. Brainwashed, I suppose that's the word I'm looking for. He managed to brainwash Daniel Bryan. And so Bryan joined up, but it was only short term, and it led to a match. So, I mean, look, could Seth join Bray and it be short term and it leads to a match? Maybe, but I have to lean towards unlikely. Reggie said, do you think we've seen the last of the Fiend? I don't think we've seen the last of the Fiend because that is a very popular character, and I think it's a character that we can always turn to. My feeling is that we are going to go down something new My feeling is that there's clearly a new mask, a new persona. That mask does not look like it's been rushed. That mask looks like it's had a lot of time taken on it. And so I think the mask is very interesting. I also have said a few times now, the fact that he took the mask off is really interesting because he never took off the Fiend mask. And the Fiend actually kind of consumed him. So I saw a theory. I think it was Ryan Satin. Ryan Satin said, "Do you think what we saw?" And I'm not sure that this is what we saw, but this is, a theory. Do you think what we saw was Bray overcoming the Fiend last night, and now he's stepping out and being his own person once again? Hence why we've now got him with a blue light. It's not a red light. Hence why he's not carrying he's carrying the old lantern again. And now he's got his own identity. He's got his own mask. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. It's a fun theory. It's fun to think about. I don't know. Again, like, how do you perceive the Fiend? I feel like the Fiend was something that consumed Bray, but was it a heel? Was it a bad thing? I don't know. Was Bray in a conflict with it? Was he in a battle with it? Should we be happy that he's beaten the Fiend if this is what it is? Like, I don't think we should. I feel like a lot of people really love the Fiend, and I feel like, in a way, it was kind of Bray's darkness. I always enjoyed that aspect of it, that, he learnt to control it. He said he had learnt to control it in the early Funhouse. So I kind of feel like it shouldn't be the last we see of the Fiend, because I think the Fiend is very popular. And I think that there's still things that you can do with that character. But I think that the Fiend needs to be something we see once in a blue moon, just like the Demon with Finn Balor. It's not a character we should see on a regular basis at all. And in all fairness, it never has been a character we've seen on a regular basis. I can see it definitely making an appearance at some point in the future, but I don't think it's part of the immediate future. And I also, I've said this quite a lot, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea about this. I need to make sure that I'm being very, very clear on this point. There is a possibility that the puppets are going to come alive and they are going to be wrestlers, right? There is a possibility of that. But what we saw last night, and I've got it queued up, this here, right? I don't think these are going to wrestle. I don't think these are, I've seen people trying to work out and say, well, I think that's such and such, and I think that's the same height as Bo, and I think that's Alexa, and I think that's such and such. I'm not feeling that way, personally, right? I've got no problem with people doing that because, listen, I've been preaching about an open mind, haven't I? So if people want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Of course it is. And people going, I think that's Gacy, and I think that's such and such. I don't know that I don't know that I feel that way. I mean, I look at Abby, for example, and I think, how is she meant to wrestle in that? Unless she's going to take off the mask, take off the headdress, take off the dress. Like, unless she's going to actually remove all of that. Maybe, unless that's what she walks down in entrance gear like, and she's going to take it all off and reveal whoever it is underneath. Maybe then, yes. But, like, again, I look at Huskus. How's Huskus going to wrestle in that? That whatever that yellow thing is, is he going to take that off, is he? How's he meant to wrestle in that mask? I feel like that mask is going to be quite restrictive. I know that Bray wrestled in the Fiend mask, but I feel like the Huskus one is worse. And don't even get me started on the Mercy one. I mean, if Mercy's going to wrestle, he's definitely got to take the mask off. He's definitely got to take that head. And same with Rambling. You reckon Rambling's going to have a match with that headpiece on? So, I mean, look, is there a way forward? Yeah, but they're going to have to take a load of stuff off to wrestle because this looks really restrictive. And I don't know. A lot of this as well, I look at it and, like, I can see a shirt. I can see normal trousers. I can see dungarees with a little bit of grey fur stuck on. I can see grey gloves. I can see a black top that's got a bit of splatter on. I can see a plain dress, a plain veil. I can see a lot of very, very basic things here. This is not like the most elaborate costumes. Yes, the headdress, the head things are great. I'm not knocking these. They did a job, and I think they were great at doing that job. But I don't know how long these are staying around for. I don't know that I look at these and think, right, there we go. This is it. This is the Wyatt 6. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. I look at these as like temporary to do a job for last night. Now, listen, I can be completely wrong on this. Completely wrong, yeah? But the reason why I'm saying this is because I think if these were more permanent kind of costumes, I think there would be a bit more to them. I think, like, I don't know, I really feel like that Rambling Rabbit head, for example, that is, you know, quite elaborate, but it's not really like the Rambling Rabbit concept art that we saw. It's not really, I don't know, I mean, like, it's not very menacing. I mean, granted, I wouldn't want to walk down an alleyway and see it, but if you actually look at the concept art that I think Kyle did, that was doing the rounds beforehand for like Rambling Rabbit coming to life, it doesn't look anything like this. It doesn't look anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just not sold on the idea that this is now going to be, these are going to be going around with Bray, and that these are now alive, and this is going to be the Wyatt 6 type thing. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. Not sold on it. But there's a lot of people that are looking into this, trying to figure out who these people are, trying to figure out, like, you know, what wrestlers are going to be portraying these characters. And as I said, you know, look, it could go that way. It could go that way because if they're going to take off a load of the masks, going to take off the dress, going to take off a few bits and bobs, and get down to something they can actually wrestle in, then maybe you can find a way of making it work. But I do look at these as being quite restrictive, as I said. I think they're quite restrictive. So it just makes me wonder if it's going to be Bray on his own for a little bit, and if what we actually did last night is, like, say goodbye in a way to a few things. Don't know. I mean, I feel like we're not going to have to wait too long, because I feel like if we get a Firefly Fun House tomorrow on Raw, then obviously we get some big answers then, don't we? Then all of a sudden we get... we start to find out a few interesting things. So, yeah. Reggie, shout out to you, my friends. You should have, Bud, you should have put a message. I would have read it out. I would have read it. I do think it's interesting the Fiend being there as well, you know? So, like, the Fiend was there and all the puppets were there and they were, like, I don't know, like, Bray was not a part of them, was he? They were, like, out in the arena. They were kind of helping to bring him back in a way. He was kind of separate from them. He had a new persona. He had a new identity. We could easily fix up the Funhouse. Easily fix up the Funhouse. That doesn't mean that has to be gone for good. But I think in the short term, I can see him doing something new. In the short term, I think we need to... I tell you what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that he's come back quite human. That's what I'm hoping. Because I think some of the criticism was that he was a bit... There was barriers. There was too much in the way. Like, you couldn't really do a proper sit-down interview with him. His promos were, like, you know, Funhouse vignettes, and there's not really, like, a back and forth that you can do there. Like, so, you know, it'd be good if he could sit down with, like, Michael Cole or something, and we could, like, really hear from him. I think the fans want to hear what he's thinking and where his head's at, and I think the fans want a bit of kind of insight, if you will. Nothing too much, obviously. You're never going to get loads, but I think a more human Bray that's got the ability to, when needed, turn to a Fiend or turn to a different persona or bring in some friends. Like a Bray Wyatt that's got options is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. The Bray Wyatt that we saw before was really Funhouse Bray and Fiend. And then on a very rare occasion, he did bring back Cult Leader Bray. I think that was in his feud with Braun. Do you remember he gave him like the black sheep mask and everything? So a Bray that's kind of new, a bit more human, a Bray that's got options, a Bray that can do sit-down interviews, a Bray that can let us in a little bit more. I'm totally down for all of that. I'd be so intrigued by it. Imagine if they advertise a sit-down interview with Bray Wyatt. Michael Cole is going to sit down with Bray Wyatt, and we're going to find out where he's been, where his head's at, what's he come back for, and we're going to try and get some answers. That will be one of the most interesting kind of things, segments that WWE will have done all year. A sit-down kind of interview. Of course, it's not going to be straightforward. And of course, he's not going to sit there and just give us all the answers. Well, I was trying to do this and I was trying to do that. Of course not. He's still going to be in a persona. He's still going to be in some sort of character. There's still going to be some sort of, wall up, keeping us back, if you will. But I think it would be in his benefit if we could just get that little bit closer, just that little bit closer to him, rather than like some of the barriers that we had before. I'd be really down for that. So I'm really excited actually about the return. Really excited about everything that I've seen so far. Genuinely, really, really liking it. Really liking it. I thought the way it was executed was excellent. I thought it was interesting. There was lots to talk about. There's lots of different directions you can take it. We're kind of just going on gut feeling, and that's all I'm doing at the moment, just giving you gut feeling, really, because there's nothing else to go off. So I'm just going off gut feeling. Lots to dig into, and as we said, that's what we're going to do here. Right, here we go. Cozy said, do you think Bray does a Mick Foley and rotates characters depending on story and situation? I would love that. I can't say yes, that's what he's going to do, but I would love that. Because I genuinely think that he restricted himself a little bit last time. So many positives out of the Fun House and the darker Fiend character. I mean, the reaction he got because of how successful what he's done in the past has been, right? People love how creative he is and all of that kind of stuff. Not a single fiber of my body wants to take that away from him. But I do think that there is a way that we can just get him a little bit more relatable, connect him a little bit more, have him do proper interviews, have him come down to the ring and do some promos. The poor guy could never come to the ring and just cut a normal promo because he always had to be in a fun house. And if he was the Fiend, then he would never speak. So the Fiend never said anything. Funhouse Bray was always in the Funhouse. You might not see those as limitations, but they are limitations. They are preventing him from doing certain things. Backstage interviews in the ring. You might have been able to have done some stuff maybe with Funhouse Bray. Maybe that's something we could have explored, but we never did, really. We never really got Funhouse Bray out in the ring. We had a few matches. That were all right, but we never did promos in the ring and interviews in the ring and whatever. But I feel like this version of Bray, he takes the mask off, and I've said before, this new mask is clearly not like the Fiend because it doesn't consume him. He was not consumed. He could take it off and then talk to us. He takes this new mask off and he says, I'm back. Yeah. And so this new mask feels a bit like it's a symbol, it's entrance gear. I can't get a read as to why he wears it or what it relates to. But whatever it is, it does not seem to consume him like the Fiend does. And the fact that he looked down the camera and said, I'm back, is that him saying that he's back from being out of WWE? Or is he back from, where he's been with the Funhouse? Because, we don't know we don't quite know what the Funhouse was, There's lots of theories what the Funhouse was, but where was Bray during the Funhouse? I know that sounds a really stupid question, right? But bear with me. Where was Bray during the Funhouse? Because the guy in the Funhouse did not act like cult leader Bray, did he? That was Funhouse Bray, right? And, one of the first That part of me is dead now. Do you remember that? That part of me is dead now. And he took the chainsaw and chainsawed that standee. I think it's like episode 1 of the Funhouse. That part of me is dead now. Right? This is a new Funhouse Bray that was, always happy and everything. Obviously had a darker side, but always happy. And then you had the Fiend. But where was the Bray that we knew? That part of him was dead. Is that part of him back? So when he walked out and he said, I'm back, is he talking about being back in WWE? Or is he talking about being back from before the Funhouse? So there's a few things like that I think are very interesting. Again, these are all just theories and thoughts. People can be like, no, this is a load of rubbish. He's going to be Funhouse Bray. We're going to have the puppets. Going to have the Funhouse. He's going to be the Fiend. We're going to, people could be all of that. And they could be right. They could be right. But it's just, we're all kind of reading it our own individual ways, aren't we? Peter said when Bray left WWE, he abandoned the Funhouse. And after the time Bray was gone, the puppets became more human and died from broken hearts, as he was always there for them. Gia Bat said Cole and Wyatt interview, chapter 2. Josh said, what if their masks are just placeholders till they make better ones? I would find that weird, to be honest, because why would you show us the characters alive and then change what the characters look like alive? Like, that would seem a bit strange. Like, if you're going to go to the effort of actually bringing them to life, do you not just do it properly first time? I'm not saying that this isn't proper, right? Again, I'm really have to be so careful with my words because I really was a big fan of last night. And I love these. I think these are brilliant. They did a job. But I'm just saying, like, can we honestly see these being a permanent thing? Can we honestly see this being something that is going to be with Bray? They're going to wrestle matches. They're going to be, do you know what I mean? It's going to be these guys against Bloodline. Like, I just don't know that I can personally. And I look at it and think, yeah, I mean, you're right. Could they just change the masks? Could they just change them? Well, they could, but how are you going to explain that? Why has Rambling Rabbit got a different face now? Why has Mercy got a different mask now? Why has Huskus got a different mask now? Like, that would be a hard one to explain, I think. So if you was gonna bring them to life, you would bring them to life and you would keep them that way, surely. And so if these are going to be alive now, then I have to think this is it. This is what they look like. This is them alive. This is what we've got. And to be crystal clear, if this is what it's going to be going forward, fine. If this is it, fine. I ain't down on these. I think that, well, they're definitely going to have to take the masks off. I mean, there's no way Mercy's wrestling in that. There's no way Rambling's wrestling in that. There's no way that Huskus... Huskus might be able to get away with it. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. Certainly Abby can't wrestle in that. So it's interesting. It's interesting because obviously the lead-in theory right now is that is it. They are here, and people are now just trying to figure out who's going to be these wrestlers, who is going to be behind those costumes. That's what social media is fascinated with. I've had tons of people sending me their thoughts on, I think Huskus is this person. I think Mercy is this person. I've seen a lot of people saying that they think Mercy is going to be Grayson Waller. They think that Huskus is going to be Joe Gacy. They think that Abby is going to be Liv. They think that... I can't remember who the other ones was, but I've seen loads of things like that. And as I said, again, to be crystal clear, I'm not down on it. I'm not against it. If that's what you believe and that's what you think, it's absolutely fine. You're not in the wrong. There's tons of people that are saying these things. It's just not where my head's at the moment. But I don't know, maybe you lot can change my mind. Zycamy said, could you see Liv Morgan joining Bray since she lost her championship? I could see it happening. I can't say it's going to happen. I think if anyone shows any kind of anger, upset now, it just seems like people go, oh, they're joining Bray. Like, she was emotionally upset backstage, and the consensus was, well, that's it, she's Abby the Witch. I just feel like that's a little bit of a jump. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that it can't go that way. I'm just saying that she could also just be upset backstage, couldn't she? She could be upset, and she could, like, maybe it's a heel turn. Or if it's not a heel turn, perhaps she's just upset and she's going to stay face. Or perhaps she does now, join up with Bray. So it's very, very difficult because there's nothing to hang your hat on, is there? There's not really anything to sit here and go, well, I think this because of this. I think that because of that. The only thing I can tell you is that Liv was thought to be joining Bray in the past, but it turned out there was never any plans for that. So I think she would work great with him. I think she'd be brilliant with him, actually. I would be totally supportive of Liv joining up with Bray and being part of a new faction. Whether that be her be Abby the Witch, or, we go in a new direction and, the Wyatt Six has got nothing to do with the puppets, maybe. I don't mind. But yeah, I think she'd be good with them. But I can't, unfortunately, sit here and say yes or no. It's definitely going to happen, not going to happen type thing, Do you think he goes to SmackDown or Raw? Said Connor, I think he goes to Raw. My guess is Raw. Reason why I would say that is because SmackDown tends to be quite sports orientated. Like, they are on Fox. And I'm not sure that they're really looking for fiends and puppets and all that kind of stuff. If you actually looked at the fun houses that we got on Raw and then compared them to what we got on Fox, they felt different. It felt like there was restrictions. It's interesting because the restrictions on Bray might not have only been from Vince, they might have been from networks. I feel like USA Network is a better home for Bray. It's a 3-hour show as well. So they've got more time to fill. It's a network that's not as sports orientated. So I feel like if you're doing puppets and things like that, you can kind of get away with it a bit more. So Raw is where I feel like Bray's natural home is. But we don't know what this version of Bray is. This version of Bray, if it is going to be a little bit more human, if you will, he can get away with going on both brands. Again, I would argue that was a bit of a restriction. I feel like he couldn't go onto either brand as freely, or if he did go onto SmackDown, I think there were extra limitations on him. Whereas if he is going to be a bit more human and a bit more, say, cult leader, then I think, so I'm quite surprised that we haven't had anything like that. But, yeah, I'm going to say Raw. Let's try and read some of these. Maybe puppets are not supposed to fight wrestlers. They're only there to scare them away, says Marshall. That could be used that way, Marshall. If that is the case, then I would say that's probably we're not going to get wrestlers doing that then. If they're not going to be wrestlers, then I don't think we will have people kind of, wrestlers playing those characters. I think they will just stay kind of unknowns, if you will. Local talents, jobbers, just people wearing the gear. I personally don't think there was anyone of note wearing those things last night. I think they were just backstage people, basically. I've got no proof of that, but again, a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, oh, is that such and such? I don't know. I don't know that you can do that. I don't know that they were actually anyone. I don't know. If Liv is doing dating Bo, she will be Sister Abigail. Remember, Sister Abigail and the witch are not the same. Alexa was possessed by the witch. I don't know that she is. Are they? I don't follow people's personal lives like that, to be honest. So I don't know. I know they're. Last I heard was they both lived on the same farm. Is she in a relationship with Bo? If she is in a relationship with Bo, then yeah, maybe Bo's coming in and he will join and Liv will join as well. I mean, if she's on the farm with Bo, so even if she's not in a relationship, she's got a hotline to Bray Wyatt, hasn't she? She's got an easy kind of contact to get in touch with Bray. So even if she's not in a relationship with him, she surely has been able to have conversations with him, and he's been over to their place And I'm sure she spoke to him and thrown ideas around. And yeah, I mean, it's a really good point, actually. That might just be a little tick in the, yeah, she's going to join him column. So it's a good point. If the puppets are wrestlers, who would you choose for each one? If the puppets were wrestlers, who would I choose? Let me just look at them again then. So I would go with... I mean, I suppose you would go Grayson Waller, wouldn't you? I can definitely see that. I mean, he wears like bright Hawaiian shirts. So you could go Grayson Waller for Mercy. I think that would be fine. Bo, I would probably... I don't think anyone could be Fiend. Can anyone be Fiend other than Bray? Would you have anyone be the Fiend? I mean, I don't know. Could you say that the Fiend has now consumed someone else? Could it be the... I don't know. Would you get away with that, though? It would feel like... It would feel secondary, wouldn't it? Because if that Fiend is Bo, for example, he's always... That Fiend is always going to be compared to the other Fiend. And I don't know that it's going to be comparable. I don't know. I don't know. It might feel like a Fiend off Wish. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know that the Fiend should stick around if it's not Bray, to be honest. I don't know. I'd find that a bit strange. Someone else being the Fiend. Be a bit strange. I'd go Grayson Waller. Let's go Bo. I feel like Bo. You could have Bo be Rambling Rabbit. You could have Liv be Sister Abigail. And I really don't know who you have as Huskus. I mean, it's not a flattering outfit, is it? It's not a flattering outfit at all. I've seen people saying Gacy. I don't know if that's because Gacy's got a bit of timber on him, a bit of cushion around the midsection or not. I don't know. Yeah, that one's a bit of a tricky one. I think that one's a bit of a tricky one. Do you know who'd be quite good in that role? Otis. Otis would be all right in that role, wouldn't he? You could have Bo, Liv, Grayson Waller, and Otis, which but people have been saying Joe Gacy, which I suppose you could do it. The only thing I would say with Gacy is Gacy feels like a leader to me. I don't know if Gacy would be happy about playing second fiddle to Bray. But I suppose it's a way of bringing him to the main roster, isn't it? And we made the observation, I think, last night that, like, you know, Cody was kind of the right-hand... not Cody. MJF was the right-hand person for Cody at the start of AEW. And then they broke apart. You could do something like that, I suppose, where you've got Gacy being the right-hand person of Bray. And then, you know, Gacy goes off and breaks apart. So you could definitely look to do something like that. I think there will be something like the Wyatt family. He said, I'm here, and blew out the lantern like they used to. I thought he said, I'm back. Did he say, I'm here? I thought he said, I'm back. I'll have to listen to that again. Maybe I got that wrong. I'm here. I'm back. It's not the biggest difference, but the I'm back I thought was interesting if it was, because as we said at the start, like, where's he back from? Is he back from being out of work, or is he back from before the Funhouse? Is this a return to cult leader Bray? Ryan said, blew out the lantern like they used to, and then they played the old Wyatt family noise. Yes. Does this mean the Fiend is no longer said AWC Legends? No, I think the Fiend will still feature. I think you can always turn to the Fiend if he needs that extra darkness. You know, if he's in a feud with someone and he needs to go to a really, truly dark place, you bring out the Fiend, don't you? You bring out the Fiend. I mean, that would seem like a no-brainer to me. Like, you know, you're in a feud with Bray, you keep cheating him and he keeps losing, and eventually he's like, I've had enough, you know. Next match, I'll see you. Won't be with me. It'll be with him. And the crowd are like, oh, you know, and that's all you need to say, really. And the crowd will know what he's on about. So I feel like the Fiend will not be around all that much. I think that, but to suggest we never see him again, I find that hard to believe. It was so popular. so popular. Why would you just abandon that character now? I don't think you would. So no, I reckon you'll see him again, but not on a weekly basis or even every pay-per-view. I think it'll be like Finn Balor's Demon, once in a while. Do you think the audio glitched when he mouthed "I will here"? It looked like there was supposed to be audio. I don't know, to be honest. I'll have to watch it back. I still thought he said "I'm back." Blitzy World said, "I think he will have an identity crisis and go through a bunch of characters for each rivalry. What if he's got a new persona where he can turn himself into any of his past versions, like a shapeshifter, his soul in the Fiend or in Cult Leader or something," said Mage Gamer. Well, for me personally, I'm not looking for him to be... I don't think he needs to be a shapeshifter. He doesn't need to do like anything as crazy as that. Like, he can just be those characters. Like, if the feud needs him to be the Fiend, then he can be the Fiend. If he needs to be something more real, then he can be what he is now. I don't know why he would ever need to be Cult Leader, unless maybe there's a faction and he needs a faction and he puts a group together. And listen, if he's going to put a group together, you're going to want Cult Leader Bray leading it. So perhaps, like, if there's going to be a Wyatt family against the Bloodline, then maybe you could bring out Cult Leader Bray for that. Maybe we're going to see a new kind of version of Bray that's a bit more human, maybe. And then we've got... God, it's hard, isn't it? Fiend, when things are going really dark. You've got Cult Leader, if you're going to lead a faction. You've got this new version, which could be the week in, week out version. I don't know when you would break out Fun House Bray. Don't know when you would break that one out. But you always could. So, yeah. I'm not down on that. I'm not down on Wyatt 6 being all within him. I'm all right with that. That's not a problem for me. So, yeah, Wyatt 6 being all him, I think, is quite interesting. King Ducky said they've not moved Bray out of alumni yet. They will. I won't worry about it. He's definitely back. Don't worry about it. Well, you didn't dream it. It happened. He's definitely back. Dylan said, "Do you think Bray will confront the Bloodline on Raw in general tomorrow?" No, I don't think we're going to. Well, the Bloodline at the moment, I mean, Roman's obviously going and up with the match with Logan. So Roman and Logan is going to be the focus all the way up to Crown Jewel. I don't think we're going to be having Bray doing stuff and messing around with Roman and taking Roman's attention away from Logan. So I think what we need to do is we need to hear from him, really. We need to know... There's so many questions like, what's he coming back as? Is he coming back alone? I've got a feeling that I don't know if we're looking to start feuds yet. Do you remember before, like, we had like loads of Funhouse episodes? I know he's already been here in person, right? I know we've already had that, but I think we might have a few weeks now where we get vignettes or we hear from him. The worst thing they could do, the worst thing is if all we get on Raw is a video package. Imagine that. That would suck. Imagine if we just got a video package recapping what happened at, like, this happened and that's it. That would suck. We need some sort of vignette. We need something that's going to push the story forwards. We need some answers. Everyone's searching for answers, and we need some answers. So hopefully we get something like that. Like, I don't necessarily need him going after anyone at this stage. I said that as long as after Extreme Rules we know who's behind White Rabbit, I'll be happy. I was more than happy with what we got. Absolutely brilliant. Next step now, I think, is to just understand where we are a little bit better. So I would like a few weeks now, ideally, to just... I need to understand where we are. I need to understand what's happening. Where's Bray's mentality? What's this new persona? What's he looking to achieve? Why is he back? Why did he decide to come back? It was his choice to come back. He didn't have to come back. So why is he back? What's the unfinished business? What's on the agenda? Who's his targets? Maybe he doesn't say who his targets are, but I mean, if he says I want belts, well, there you go. His targets are the champions, aren't they? If he said he wants to right the wrongs of the past, well, there we go. There's a list of people that we can look into. So I feel like we need to understand why he's back, what his persona's like. Is it Funhouse? Are the puppets coming alive? Like, you know, there's a list of questions that needs answering, really. And I understand we won't get all those answers on Raw, and we shouldn't. It should be a process. It should be something where we can enjoy the journey of getting the answers. But I think for him to just come back and now go boom straight after someone, that would feel a bit quick to me. I would like for this to breathe. I feel like when we got him last time, we had 7 weeks of Funhouse episodes that kind of really brought us up to speed with where he was at and what he was looking to achieve and where his mindset was. And then boom, he attacked Finn Balor. Now we've had White Rabbit. That's resulted in Bray's return, but we're still left with, you know, tons of questions, more questions than ever. So it would be nice to get a bit of insight into where he's at the moment. That's what I'd be hoping for from Raw. Wevin said Bray Wyatt, Baron Corbin, Malachi Black, Liv Morgan, Joe Gacy, Rowan. That's my dream Wyatt 6. There wouldn't be puppets, just a faction. Joe Gacy and Black would be the right-hand men. Thoughts? Thoughts? Okay, thoughts. Baron Corbin, weird choice, but a dark Baron Corbin that was following orders and had a responsibility. It could be interesting. I don't know that we're going to go that way. Last time we saw Corbin, he was in a limo with JBL. So I don't know that that's got anything to do with Bray, to be honest. But could be interesting. I'm not sure we get it, though. Malachi Black's still with AEW, but yes, him being with Bray, you can totally see why that makes sense. He is someone that struggles on his own, sadly. He shouldn't. Amazing talent. He shouldn't struggle on his own, but he does. So him being with Bray, I think would work. Liv, yeah, she doesn't necessarily struggle on her own. She got to the title, but I think that she would massively benefit by being with Bray. Look at what being in Judgment Day has done for Dominic. Now think about what being in a Wyatt family could do for Liv, right? I think it'd be a big boost for her. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Joe Gacy, I've been very vocal about saying I don't know that I can picture him being a right-hand man because he is a leader down in NXT. He is someone that leads people, and he's someone that seems to have answers, and he's someone that is showing others the way. So for him now to follow Bray would be a little strange. You could definitely do it, and actually, it could be that Gacy has got answers because he's been getting those answers from Bray Wyatt, and I would be down for that. I think ultimately he would turn on Bray, and he would go off on his own. He would be a bit of a black sheep, if you will, and I don't mind that either. So again, I made the comparison to MJF being the right-hand person of Cody at the start of AEW, and then MJF turned on Cody. I feel like Gacy, if he was in a faction, would probably not be in it long term, and ultimately he would turn on Bray. So, there's a way forward with that, definitely. Rowan, yeah, no problem with Rowan. I like Rowan. He's putting out a few cryptic tweets as well, isn't he, at the moment? So I don't know if there's anything happening there, but I like Rowan. We were talking about how I think people have got a lot of sympathy for him because, he was obviously very connected to Brody. Brody passed away. When Brody passed away, it was Rowan that was on AEW crying with that sign, looking up at the heavens. I think the fans have got a nice connection with Rowan. I think people would welcome him back with open arms. It's nice tie into the past as well, isn't it? Bray versus Solo at Crown Jewel, said Malone's Family Circle. Sharon said, do you think Alexa will be involved in storylines? Almost definitely, because I can't see how you don't, to be honest. They were so connected in the past. I don't see how you can ignore it. Even if they're just like ships in the night backstage and there's like some moments where they're just staring at each other or something. You see, if this is a more human Bray, he can now do those kind of backstage segments. He can do those segments where he's doing backstage interviews, interacting with other superstars backstage. He missed out on all of that last time. We weren't getting any of that last time because he was always in the Fun House, and the Fiend was never just kicking it backstage, was he? So I feel like that this would be a real positive, I think. It would allow him more freedom. It would allow him to maybe get better connect with some of the audience. He's got an amazing connection with the audience, but I think it's not so much, it's a weird connection because his connection is just like, oh yeah, he's cool, look at the Fiend, the Fiend's cool. But like he struggles to kind of do promos and really build feuds and things along those lines because you don't get the back and forth. You don't get the promos, you don't get the back and forth interviews, you don't get the backstage, altercations, you don't get the brawls. He doesn't interrupt during matches. His matches don't get interrupted, and very weird, very different presentation is what he had last time. So I think like it'd be interesting to see what we do this time. Do you think Eric Rowan will show up and possibly Strowman join them? So Eric Rowan, I think there's a chance. Yeah, Strowman join in. I would put Strowman with him. I would put Strowman with him because I think Strowman is a big monster who, I've got to be honest, struggles. He struggles. I think when he becomes champion, I don't think people necessarily care about Strowman when he's champion. I don't think his title reigns are memorable at all. I think you can even look at like what he's doing at the moment and say that, he's just come back. There was a nice reaction when he came back. Now he's just kind of faffing around with the Alpha Academy. And I don't know. I don't know if people really care. I don't know if his segments are blowing up and people get excited when Strowman comes out. I've got a lot of respect for Strowman. I met him. He was a wonderful person. I would like to see him. I'd like to see him with Bray. I always thought that when he had the Black Sheep's mask on and he was with Bray, that was some of the most entertaining stuff that Strowman did. So I would put Strowman back with Bray. And I think he can still be with Bray and go after a world title. He can still be with Bray, but it makes him a bit more interesting. Like, what does Strowman stand for right now? What's Strowman all about? What's Strowman like what's he as a person? I mean, I don't really know much about him. I don't know why I need to care about him. What's he trying to achieve? Why should I care if he wins a world title? What emotional connection do I have with Strowman? I just don't. Is the truth. I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. But if he was in the Wyatt family and Bray could tell me about how this guy has been overlooked his whole career, how this guy deserves better, how this guy is a monster, that, just never got his due, never got what he deserved, constantly overlooked. I kind of feel like then I've got something that I can care about. I've got something that I can get emotionally invested in. And so I think that if Strowman goes into the Wyatt family, I personally would enjoy Strowman more. And I think it would be a big boost to Bray to have another monster that he can turn to when needed. A monster maybe that, dare I say, is not quite as scary as the Fiend, but still a monster that you can use on a more regular basis. So, you can always turn and use Strowman if needed. Again, it's just options for Bray, isn't it, really? So, I like Strowman going back there. I'm a big fan of that. Retro Un Lim said Bray came out of the forbidden door. Sean said, how much creative control do you think Bray will be allowed for coming back? Reports are Rob Fee's position, and Triple H said, I'm thinking he's got a lot but not total. Yeah, I think a lot but not total. And I don't think anyone should have total. I mean, one of the things with Bray is that I think that he is very, very creative. But I think you have to. This might not play well to Bray fans, but I think you have to understand and recognize there are other superstars in WWE that we need to protect as well, right? Yes, Bray is amazing, right? But you can't just go all in on Bray. I mean, there was people saying we should interrupt every match at Extreme Rules. Like, there's 6 matches. So let's have a different member of Wyatt 6 interrupt each individual match, right? My point is, that's not very respectful to the other superstars because this is a company, it's a team, right? It's not about just one person. It's not even just about Roman, and he's the biggest star they've got, right? It's not even about just Roman because Roman obviously isn't around every week and he's not on Raw all the time and he's not on SmackDown all the time. So that means that the other superstars have to fill, all the hours that he's not there. He only does a few segments a week, if that. So, you need a team around you. You need to build up opponents for Bray. You need to be caring about people so that when Bray faces them, the matches matter. So I kind of feel like if he had total control, I would just worry that any wrestler that had total control might not consider the other superstars as much, because if you've got total control, you're gonna give yourself the belt. You're gonna be loving life. You're gonna have like the best segments. You're gonna put yourself in main events at WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna just go crazy about yourself, aren't you? Surely. If you've got total control, you're going to book yourself in major programs and major feuds and have like big TV time and all this kind of stuff. But you have to remember it's a balancing act and there's a lot of other superstars as well. Bottom line is, this is nothing to do with Bray. No superstar should have total creative control. No superstar, right? It does not work. Does not work. You can't give any superstar total creative control. So just think of like the backstage heat that would cause, the drama, the animosity, all that kind of stuff. You'd be upsetting people as well. Because everyone wants that kind of freedom, So I think he's got a lot of freedom. I think when it comes to his promos, he'll have pretty much total freedom, pretty much. I think when it comes to his matches, though, that's going to be different. And certainly when it comes to the results of matches, I think he's going to have to just go with largely what they want to do. If Triple H wants someone to go over because he wants them to have the belt and he's got a story planned, it's Triple H's call to do that, right? And that has to be respected. I don't know that Bray has the ability to change that. But I think what Bray could have the ability to do is the matches. Okay, he might not be able to dictate the result, but he might be able to have a much more of a say as to how we get to that result. So he might have influence there. Promos, I think he'll have total control, pretty much. Vignettes, as we said. And he might even be able to say who he wants to work with and veto things. If he doesn't want to work with someone, he might be able to say, that doesn't work for me, and might be able to get out of it, So there might be things along those lines as well. But I think, being able to decide what matches you win and, lose and all of that, no wrestler should have that. That's bad news. Bad news. So, I agree with you. I think that he'll have a lot of control, but not total. But as we said, I don't think any wrestler should have total. And I mean that. I mean, I'm Gunther, Asuka, all my favorites. None of them should have total creative control. It's a bad idea. What if Bray's new persona is a TikToker? Amazing. Where they just tweet out all the time. Brilliant. Perfect. That would work. What's more popular than a social media influencer? Literally nothing. Yeah. If you're a nurse, forget it. Yeah. If you're what else is good? A juggler, forget it. Yeah. It's all about being a social media influencer. Blocker Bacon said, is the Fiend still the main character or is it the new mask? Well, we don't know is the truth, but I feel like I don't know that the Fiend is going to be seen all that much. I feel like the Fiend is going to be saved for special occasions. I don't know that this is it. We'll never see the Fiend again because the Fiend is so popular. I mean, we know how WWE loves selling things. I'm looking at you, Lily Dolls. So anything Fiend related, you've got to think is going to sell like hotcakes. So are we really going to abandon that now? I mean, if we are, you better have something good to replace it. You better have something that's going to be equally as popular. So I don't know. I don't know if this new mask is as cool. Not down on it, right? I really like it. But the Fiend mask was it was cool. It was a cool look. It was, but this new one is don't know. It's not as scary, is it? Let's put it that way. It's not as scary, the new one. I'm still down. I really like it. He can remove it though, and I think that's key. The fact that it doesn't consume him and he can take it off. That means that he, I don't know, is not being consumed by this new persona. It feels like it's a symbol. It feels like it's entrance gear. It does not feel necessarily like a new, I don't want to say like a new persona. I mean, I feel like it could just be cult leader Bray that's under there. But there might be, until he talks and he does a promo, we're not going to get really any proper answers. Dysfunction said, I think Bray should slow down the roster. No title chasing. Just weekly segments with a rare match for premium live events. Yeah, I don't mind that. Take your time. There's no rush. I know everyone wants to rush. But, I mean, if you look at how great White Rabbit was, that played out over a few weeks. Lovely. Yeah. Perfect. And now that he's here, we can take another few weeks to just understand where he is mentality-wise. Just understand him a little better, understand where his head's at. Lovely, perfect, thanks a lot. Then he can attack someone and we can get into the first feud, but we'll have a better understanding why he's going after them. And we'll have a better understanding of what support he's got. You know, has he got a family? Is he on his own? Has he got different personas that he can turn to? Are they all gone now and it's just this new creation? You know, a lot of people are saying, we saw the puppets. We heard the old cult leader music. We saw the lantern. We saw the Fiend. We saw the Fun House. But we might have seen all of those things because that is his past. And it might be that he stepped through and stepped out and stepped away from that past. It might be that when he walks through that door and steps out into the arena, this is him emerging in and stepping away from all the stuff that was in the past. So it could be that all of that stuff that was referenced because that is his journey, that is the life that he's had, that's his career. Nothing that I saw necessarily though for Husky Harris, which is a little bit of a shame because that's obviously part of his journey. Even if it's a part of his journey he's not crazy about, it's still a part that he referenced with Huskus. So it's one that he still embraces, if you will. He knows it's an important part of his journey. I mean, he wouldn't be where he was if it wasn't for that. So you can't you can't just ignore it. But it might have been cool if there was like a little NXT something, reference in there, because, that would have been cool. But yeah, it could be that. It could be that. It could be that he's stepping away from all that past and stepping into this like new persona, this new character. And I just hope this new character is a lot more just him, to be honest. I hope this new persona is just a lot more him being him. He can still be creative. There's still a way that he can do vignettes and Easter eggs, and he should not avoid doing that because people love all of that. But I think there's definitely a way forward with all of this, with this new persona. I'm quite excited by it. I'm quite excited. I know a lot of people would like the Fiend and go back to where we were, but I think I'm quite excited by something new. So we'll see where it leads. Do you agree Bray shouldn't be racing for titles? I agree. Turns matches on a smaller basis. I agree. Dysfunction, yes. What about the dyad, Braun and Rowan and Nikki with Bray as Wyatt 6 or Odyssey Jones or Jonah? I wouldn't do Odyssey Jones. He's not done much in NXT, so he's still green. Jonah, I don't know if he fits. That's Bronson Reed, isn't it? I suppose he would. I suppose he could. You could go with him. I'm trying to think what you'd put him as. He'd be like Huskus maybe or something. I mean, he doesn't need to be a puppet, of course. You can just put him in a faction. So I suppose you could. He never actually made it to the main roster. So being under Bray's wing, I could see that. What else did you say? Braun, Rowan, yeah, Nikki, yeah, I'm down with those. I ain't got an issue with those. 3 Diglets said Fiend should only come to kick major ass, and he should be undefeated. 3 Diglets, shout out to you, buds. Jekyll or Hyde said Strowman needs a good mouthpiece and booking that makes him unbeatable. I'd make him a heel and let him run wild. He needs to be the true monster. That's great. I love that. I agree. I completely agree. I agree because I think what I've seen from him hasn't worked. It's not landed. I don't feel that emotional connection. If he was a heel, just coming down and just bullying people and beating people up and just, wrecking things. I mean, when he was tipping over ambulances and cars and vehicles, he was awesome. that was like arguably when he was at his best. I loved him when he had the Black Sheep's mask. When he first debuted in the Wyatt family, I thought he was awesome. I mean, what was so cool is I'd never seen him before. Like, I'd never seen him in NXT. I don't know that he ever wrestled on NXT. He did house shows, but I don't know that he ever wrestled in NXT. He was a Rosebud, but I don't think he wrestled in NXT. And so I was not familiar with him. So imagine, I mean, it's just so weird now. It just wouldn't happen. But imagine someone arriving on the main roster, the size of Strowman, that you've never seen before. The last time I could recall that happening would be Amos. Like Amos, when Amos arrived. I mean, we already knew about him. He was, his name's Jordan McBean or something. I always get told I say his name wrong. But we'd seen him down at a house show, and we knew that they had a monster waiting to come up. He hadn't been used on NXT TV. And then we saw him as the doorman for Raw Underground. That's, I think, the first time we saw him. And then, obviously, he progressed from there. He was one of the ninjas, wasn't he? Do you remember? With that cinematic match between Street Profits and Viking Raiders. He was Giant Ninja. And then he became a Moss. So that was probably the last time that we got something similar. But yeah, Strowman just came out of nowhere. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? He was amazing. So loved him when he was with Bray in the Wyatt family, and loved him when he was flipping ambulances over and doing all that. It was really cool. I was proper on board with him then. But as soon as we got like Get These Hands and the Strowman Express and stuff like that, like, I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling it that much. So yeah, and he's come back, and I was excited to see him back. But even now, I must admit, it's just gone a little. I know it's early days, but it's just gone a little bit like. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sitting here going, oh, I wish he was world champion. Oh, it'd be so cool if he was the world champion. Like, I don't feel that way. Maybe I should. Maybe you do. I just, personally, I don't. So, yeah, the idea of him being heel, I think that's a good idea. Sean said, I hope we get Bray versus Cross matchup soon. The promos alone would be worth the price of admission. Bray Cross would be good, yeah. Yeah, be good. You got to keep building up Cross though as a threat. So it might take a little bit of time. I mean, really, he's only won one meaningful match, and that was the one last night against Drew. Before that, he's just had a few matches on the main roster, but I don't know if they're meaningful. So it might take a little while to build him up. But yeah, eventually that will be a very, very good feud. I think what we'll do is believe it or not, we've done an hour. Just over an hour and like 15 minutes or so. We'll stick around for another like 12 minutes. We'll get an hour and a half done. I was going to do an hour. I've already gone 18 minutes over. But yeah, we'll stick around. There's plenty of questions coming in. I'll try and get to as many as I can. Here we go. Let's try and blast down. WNW Mother Fudger Ghost said, what if Bray isn't White Rabbit and it's someone like Bray, maybe Joe Gacy, but Bray would lead Gacy as Gacy's leader? Well, we think White Rabbit was leading us to something, and we got led to Extreme Rules, and that's where Bray came out. So I feel like the White Rabbit mystery is done now, to be honest. I don't feel like there's really a mystery anymore. I will be shocked if we get another White Rabbit clue on Monday, which would be interesting. Very interesting. But I'm not expecting that, let's put it that way. Keaton said, I think Bray should have different characters. Like one moment he's cult leader, and then Fiend, and maybe even Funhouse Bray. Five for Kids says, do you think Malachi Black should join Judgment Day or Wyatt 6? I think Judgment Day, and he could be the leader. I think he works in either group, to be honest. I think he can go either way, but I would go either. It's hard because if he goes in Wyatt 6, he's not going to be the leader. If he goes in Judgment Day, he could be the leader, but then I feel really sorry for Finn Balor. I feel like this has been great for Balor. This is now starting. I mean, like Balor coming out in that mask last night and having that match, great match with Edge, and winning it. You know, granted, not because he was on his own, but because of Judgment Day help. Like, I feel like we could get somewhere. I think Judgment Day came out of Extreme Rules looking really good. And we haven't said that about Judgment Day much, but they were vicious, man. I mean, Dominic hit Ray, his dad. He hit his dad. First time we'd seen that OMG moment. Then Rhea hits Beth even after Edge has said he quits. OMG moment. So there was a couple of moments there that I thought were really significant, and thought that Judgment Day came across really, really well as a result. So yeah, that'd be my only concern, is what would we do with Balor? Really like Balor. What you see ending in disaster tomorrow, DX 25th or Mrs. birthday celebration bash? I'll go Mrs. birthday bash because that's sure to have Dexter involved, isn't it? DX, I'm just hoping that's pretty legit, actually. I don't know. I mean, you could have a new Wyatt family attack DX. I mean, that would be incredible if Bray walked out and then he's got a faction with him. That would be insane. That'd be wonderful. That'd be brilliant. And obviously it wouldn't start a feud with DX, but it's a great way of letting you know a few things. First of all, he's not on his own. Second of all, they're pretty deadly because they just wiped out DX. Granted, DX are boomers, but still, you know, that's a good faction to take out, isn't it? Credible faction to take out. It's a nice one to say that you took out DX. So yeah, that would achieve a few things. I don't know. The only thing I would say though is DX are surely going to get a great reaction. Is Bray, who got a great reaction, going to come out and want to take out faces? Maybe not. Maybe not. It'd be a cool moment, but maybe not. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know what to expect with the DX thing. I mean, look, we had a Triple H 25th anniversary thing. I don't remember anyone attacking Triple H. That was during the pandemic, though, in all fairness. But we didn't get anyone attack Triple H. John Cena had a 25th anniversary thing. No one attacked John Cena. DX, they've got a 25th anniversary. There's every chance that we just get a nice little moment and then we get a few backstage things and that's it. So I think that if I had to pick, I'd say it's probably more chance that we get disruption in the Miz segment. Three Diglets said, White Rabbit isn't a person. We were just meant to follow White Rabbit like Alice did in Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, good point. Good point. Excellent point. I agree. I think that it was just a case of, following it down the rabbit hole and it led us to Bray. So I agree. Bray versus Cody, 5-star match. Bray brainwashes Cody, said Crystal. Marie said, what if they made WWE Fight Pit playsets? They should. That would be amazing. Dysfunction said Wyatt versus Cross feels like a WrestleMania match for Bray. Cross needs time to be built up. Wyatt needs time to be built up. Chasing those titles in Hollywood, clashing those titans in Hollywood would be amazing. Yeah, I'm down for that. Me Not You said, who is the red-hooded person if it's not attached to Bray? There's a theory that it's going to be Isla Dawn. I've seen that name mentioned. She used to be in NXT UK, so she was not let go. So we are expecting her to be joining NXT, and this might be how they bring her in. So Isla Dawn, I think, is the leading name there. Will we get an OMG moment tomorrow? Warsaw Ram, I think we will. The reason why I say that is because DX 25th anniversary. I think that's going to be a real nice moment. We've got to get some sort of follow-up with Bray. OMG is in the sense like comparable to what we got last night. Probably not. That's huge in it. But I feel like we should get something regarding Bray. And I think anything regarding Bray is going to be significant. So... look, that Raw tomorrow, it feels huge. I can't be the only one that's like thinking Raw's a massive show tomorrow. Season premiere it is of Raw. And Roman's on. So we've got Roman. We've got the DX 25th anniversary. And we should hopefully get a bit more regarding Bray. Surely Roman interrupts DX, says Dark Angel. Yeah, could do. We could get Bloodline like interrupting DX. Yeah, we could get that. Why start a new Wyatt family? Why not just have Fiend? Said Kurt Morris. Well, for me personally, I thought the Fiend was a bit restrictive at times. And I think that the Fiend is a character you can still use, but it's not a character you can use every week. Like, it's not a character that's... You can't do promos as the Fiend, for example. So, if he is going to build a feud, he's going to need the ability to talk. And, I think because of his star power, you can get other superstars over as well. He would be a great help to other superstars that are trying to establish themselves. You don't have to go in that direction. You don't have to, but he would be a big help. Being with Bray is a big boost to people, and... It really does help people. So, you could do a family. You could have people with him. It would be great for them. It would give... don't forget, he's been out the ring for a year. So there's probably ring rust. Yeah? He's been training. I'm almost certain of it. We've seen him, putting the work in and doing the training. But it's a bit different, doing that behind closed doors. And also, if you're doing it behind closed doors, who are you bringing in to actually have matches with? So I feel like it might take him a little bit of time to kind of shake that kind of ring rust off. If there's a Wyatt family, he can be in tag matches as well. And so, you can potentially look at things that way. So there's benefits to them being a faction and it being a faction. But yeah, I understand people don't want the Fiend character to go. I do understand that. Do you think Bray beats Roman for the title? I think there's a chance of it, yes. I think there's a chance of it. I think if you used to ask a lot of people now who should beat Roman for the belt, I feel like Bray is probably going to be most people's number one pick now. I think they should separate the belts. I really feel like Cody should go after the WWE title. And I think, I don't have any problems. Of course I don't, with Bray ending Roman's run. So Bray could beat Roman for the Universal. So that'd be really interesting. Imagine that. Imagine how big that match would be. Imagine Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt. Just imagine how big that match would be. That'd be huge. Did you hear Wrestling Observer, Meltzer 1 minute into the video, said Bray looked a little heavy? Look. Physique is... it's a problem for some people, Meltzer works out. He's got a good physique. And we know that that's something that Vince struggled with as well. And Vince said to Bray, you've got to lose weight, hence why we got the Muscle Man dance stuff, because that was Bray making fun of kind of the fact that he used to be a bit overweight and Vince told him he was a bit overweight. We even had the devil Vince coming in, telling him to like get into shape and everything. So I don't know. I mean, am I surprised that Meltzer has made those comments? I think it's a bit disappointing if you look at that segment and one of the big takeaways you take from it is he looked a bit heavy. I don't know. I kind of feel like it was so good. It was so creative. I feel like, just enjoy it and see where it's going. And I don't know. I don't even think you can make too much of a call on how heavy he looked, to be honest. How can you even see that clear? How can you see? I couldn't see that he was that heavy. I'm sure if I studied it, you could probably tell that he's not stick thin. But I don't think he should be, to be honest. When did it become a problem for professional wrestlers to carry a bit of weight? Do you know what I mean? I understand being Yokozuna's size is bad for your health. I get that. And they tried to get Yokozuna to lose weight. But like Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader, some of these big guys, Kevin Owens, he's got a bit of something to him. Like, I don't know, man. Professional wrestlers used to have a bit of size to them. Do you know what I mean? It's just weird how like it's a comment, it's an issue, it's something to talk about. I just don't see it as a problem. There was a lot of chatter about Keith Lee. Do you remember Keith Lee? There was a lot of talk about him and like getting Keith Lee to cover up and everything. What's the problem? I don't get it. These are professional wrestlers. Like they're meant to be monsters that get in there and smash into each other. So if you carry, as long as it's not affecting your health, yeah. It's like I can understand if they were like, yeah, but they can't do a match because their conditioning is no good. But the thing is, look at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's got a bit of a stomach on him, but his boxing ability does not suffer. He can go 12 rounds, 13 rounds, 14 rounds. It doesn't affect his cardio and his conditioning. So I think as long as you've got the ability to go out there and put on a match and it's not going to be a strain on your heart and your health's all right, I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem. Perhaps I'm in the minority. I don't know. I don't see the problem. Jekyll or Hyde said they definitely need to split the belts. Judgment Day needs some gold. They've got so much heat, and they are so over. I'd love to see Balor with gold, actually, in all fairness. I would love to see Balor with some gold. Marie said, what if Impact star Cody Derner brings his partner from Violent by Design, Eric Young, and John Deere, and then we have Josh Alexander. I don't watch Impact, so a lot of those names don't mean anything to me, but so I can't comment, unfortunately. Bray is wearing a heavy coat, said Walsall. Niall said, hello, Daze. Hello. Hope all is well. Do you think we'll hear the Jefferson Airplane song again? Maybe as a theme song. Maybe he'll interrupt DX reunion on Monday. I don't know, to be honest. If it was going to be his theme song, I would think they would played it last night. So I feel like the White Rabbit was a campaign to bring Bray back, and he's back now. So I don't know that we need any more White Rabbit stuff. And it was done so cleverly. The fact that they never played that song means they never have to pay for it. Is flipping genius, right? So I think it's probably done. If I had to guess, I would say that I think it's probably done. Daniel said, do you think Bray should be the one to take the title off Roman instead of Cody? I think they should split the belts, and I think Cody should end up with one, and I've no issue with Bray having the other. Do you think Dexter Lumis will join Bray? I think if you was going to do a faction, and I think there's a good chance of it, then I think Dexter Lumis would be an excellent person to join. Kane said, what about the Dyads and the OC or Authors of Pain? Dyads... You could do Dyads, yeah. I don't know where that leaves Gacy, but if you wanted to call up Dyads, you could do that. Do you mean Gacy as well? I mean, I don't think you need loads of people. Who are these? If he does have loads of people with him, who are they going to go after? Do you know what I mean? Like, if he has Authors of Pain, Dyads, and himself, like, what faction's going to be able to stop them? Because even the Bloodline have only got 4 people in them. Do you know what I mean? So This is a little bit of a problem with the whole Wyatt 6 thing. Wyatt 6 implies there's going to be 6 people. If one of them's a woman, okay, that means you've still got 5 guys, though. What faction's going to be able to deal with 5 people? Who's going to be able to stop them? Because you're going to have, even if it's Bloodline, you've got Roman, Usos, and Sammy. Oh, and Solo, haven't you? Roman, Usos, Sammy, Solo. You have got Bloodline, but I think that's it. Because Judgment Day has got Dominic, Finn, Damian, Rhea. You can't really have Rhea. Dominic, Finn, Damian. Okay, so you can't have that. I don't think there is anything else. So that's a little bit of a problem, isn't it? If it is going to be that many, who stops them? Like, who are they going to go after? So that's a potential problem. This is why maybe Wyatt 6 being him and 6 personas within him maybe works a little bit better. Imagine if he can be the different puppets. That would be sick. If he could portray them. Maybe if what we saw were the puppets coming alive, but his portrayal of them could be different masks. That could be interesting. Seth and Liv both have black profile pictures. What does that mean? Well, I mean, look, it could be to get people talking. It might not be anything more than that. I think that if they... I could see Liv joining Bray, but I really struggle to see Seth joining Bray. I struggle to see that. The 6 faces of Bray, said 3 Diglets. The 6 faces of Bray. Will it be Fiend or no, said Justin. I think Fiend is not done, but I don't think you see him on a regular basis. But then saying that, you didn't see him on a regular basis before, you know? It used to be a lot of Funhouse Bray, didn't it? So, yeah, I don't think we're done with Fiend. I don't know why you would want to get rid of that character. That character was very, very popular. Very popular. Sold a lot of masks. Sold a lot of merch. Sold a lot of action figures. I don't know why you would get rid of it, but I feel like it should be one of his personas. Why not Bray being all 6? Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. I think that's really interesting. I think it's really interesting. Right, we are massively over. I wonder if the video where we heard "Let Me In" and the door banging was telling us to let him in and open the door for him that we saw at Extreme Rules. Maybe. Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you let him in? Poor guy, he's been standing there for a year. Let me in. David Alexander said, do you think Alexa Bliss will join Bray again? I think there'll almost certainly be something. I don't see how they can live their separate lives. There must be a crossover at some point, whether they're going to be on different sides, same side. I'm sure there'll be something. Bray Wyatt could possibly win the Royal Rumble with 5 guys helping out, says Mark. Deftone said, maybe Bray only calls on the Fiend like Balor would call for the Demon. Yeah, I really like that. Josh, the greatest one, said, what else the puppets are the people the Fiend beats and Bray now controls them? What if the puppets are the people that the Fiend beat and Bray now controls them? What does that do for Seth Rollins? So if you're Seth and you've got dreams of being a champion again, like now your career is that you're being controlled by Bray Wyatt. I would just worry a little bit for Seth there, you know, and I'd worry a bit for, say, I don't know, Finn or whoever. Like, I think there's a way, but I don't know that you can do something with people like Seth Rollins. I feel like Seth is too big of a star to kind of go into that role, if you know what I mean. Fuzili said, Daze, there were rumors that Bray wanted to play all the puppets a few years ago when the idea was floated, if bringing them to life. There was a Huskus mask, but plans were nixed. Yep, you're right. I saw that they wanted to bring the puppets to life. I don't know that I know that it was all meant to be Bray. If it was, amazing. And if that's what we get, amazing. I mean, if Wyatt 6 is him, a bit of lag. Yeah, there is lag. There is a bit of lag. I feel like that's probably our cue to wrap things up. I keep setting times and we keep going over them. I said I'd do an hour. We're here at an hour and 40. So it's probably best that we do wrap it up with the lag starting to hit. If you have got points that you want to get across and things you want to say, do not worry, because we are back tomorrow. We are back an hour before Raw. We are back an hour before Raw, and we will be doing, obviously, I might even start earlier. I might start an hour and a half before Raw and try and get to as many comments as I possibly can. I've said before, if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe, because we are bouncing between the two channels. Sometimes there might be these kind of streams over here, videos over here. Sometimes there'll be stuff over on the other channel. But yeah, it really depends. I mean, we're doing this over here because I just dropped a big Bray video on the other channel, and I didn't want this getting in the way of that, so made sense to chuck it over here. So hope you enjoyed this hour and 40 minutes that we did. Really appreciate your thoughts and theories. I think there was some really interesting stuff there. Again, I have to stress this. We are just speculating. We are theorizing. We are just going off the very minute details that we got from Extreme Rules last night. So trying to piece these tiny little bits together to try and get some sort of picture is very difficult to do. So, you know, we're doing the best we can with the information we've got. But we'll see where it leads, and we should get more information tomorrow. Raw is going to be good. It's going to be juicy. It's the season opener. DX 25th anniversary. Roman is in attendance. We surely are going to get something else from Bray. So a big, big Raw tomorrow. So make sure you join us for that. We'll be live at least an hour before. And a big thank you to everyone that's jumped over here and joined us. I know this is a different channel and a weird place maybe to do these streams, but I can see us doing these on a regular basis on a Sunday, either on the other channel, this channel, somewhere. So awesome, guys. Appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. I will see you again next time. Bye for now.